Hey Exoticals, today I'm going to talk about when black men think they own you. Have you ever been around a black male and he is automatically assuming access to you? He automatically tries to hit on you. He automatically approximates you to blackness. This has to do with sexual desirability. The reason that a lot of black men call mixed race women black is because those black men don't want to be accused of being self hating when they come after us, mixed race exoticals. Those black men want to still be able to say, oh, I'm not racist, I'm not self hating, my girlfriend is still black. I am convinced at this point that most people either want to date us or create us because, especially when it comes to black men, they either date mixed race or lighter skinned black women or they date outside of their race completely to create mixed race or lighter skinned women. Unambiguous monoracial black men and black women are often two sides of the same coin. When it comes to black men, they usually start off trying to hit on you, or they will be jealous that they can't have you, so they'll try to humble you by saying, I only like dark skinned black women, or you're average at best, or you're a six. We saw this happen with Ebony K. Williams. Statistics show that the average unambiguous black man wants someone lighter than him. We have seen this reflected in movies, in music, and in multiple articles. Another thing that I've noticed is that a lot of unambiguous black men display the same hatred for light skinned men that we see unambiguous black women displaying for light skinned women. You know how I say in the black culture, sometimes there are people who they hate anyone lighter than them, they hate anyone with a silkier hair texture than them, they hate anyone with more ambiguous features than them. This is an issue that I've seen in the black community since being around it a lot. And I've noticed the same pattern with unambiguous dark-skinned black men. They will make comments like, oh, light-skinned men are played out, or no, you need some chocolate in your life, or something that kind of implies that they are naturally competing with men who are lighter or more mixed than them. And I know that this is the case because I've noticed that when it comes to the NBA, a lot of mixed race men are taking over the NBA because, like I said, a lot of black men, once they get money and status, the first thing they do is they go off and marry interracially so that they can create mixed race children who look like us. Because in the black community, being mixed race is seen as a sign of status. It's seen as a status symbol. This goes for both black men and women. Dating someone mixed race or creating someone mixed race is seen as a sign of status. I have also heard divestors say that they want their children to be mixed race so that their children don't have to suffer as much as they did as unambiguous black women. So some people in the black community, they literally associate your skin tone with social status. This is why we see women who are not light skinned arguing back and forth about whether or not another woman is light skinned. That's because they are policing it. They see it as a form of status. Anything you police, you pedestalize. But I've noticed that a lot of unambiguous black men view mixed race women or non black women as the prize. They tend to view us as some sort of status symbol because a lot of us resemble their celebrity crushes like Beyonce or Aaliyah or other mixed race celebrities. Beauty is a status symbol, beauty is a jealousy trigger, beauty is inspirational. And this goes for any community. This is true in the black community, in the white community. This is true no matter where you go. So if you're a beautiful woman and you happen to be a quote unquote exotical, you are going to get harassed by unambiguous black men because they want to be seen with you on their arm. They want to be able to prove to other people, hey, look what I got. And I've noticed this a lot in relationships in general. When it comes to men of all races, a lot of men, they don't want to go for the pick-me's. And it's so funny because it's like there are so many pick-me's out there that would love to be with these guys. There are so many quote-unquote baby mamas or overweight women or quote-unquote low-value women who would love to be with these guys. And they would love to pay 50% of his bills. But a lot of these men, they still come for the quote-unquote bad bitch. They still come for the modern woman. They still come for the OnlyFans girl. So they will have their wives and then they will cheat on them with a woman who maybe looks like you or a woman who is very modern and not conservative at all. First of all, this is extremely hypocritical, but a lot of men want to be able to challenge themselves and have this conquest of getting this beautiful, smart, modern, pretty privileged woman and taming her, and then being able to say to their friends and family, look what I got, look what I did. None of the other guys were able to catch her, but I did it. So, to a lot of men of all races, women are often viewed as a trophy, something to be shown off, something to be seen as a status symbol, and then something to eventually be put on the shelf while he goes out and pursues another, bigger, better, and shinier trophy. So, this happens in the black community all the time. I've seen it over and over again. I don't think I have ever in my life heard an unambiguous black man say, oh, I want someone who is as dark as possible, someone who is as unambiguous as possible, someone with kinky 4C hair. No, they're extremely hypocritical because they will say, oh no, I only like natural women who wear no makeup and who have their natural hair. And then they will date someone or marry someone who looks like that, but then they will go cheat on that woman with someone who wears wigs, weaves, and the whole 9 yards. Or if they don't cheat, they will go and view OnlyFans, Instagram models, or other sex workers online who wears all of the beauty enhancements you can think of. Also, unfortunately, because most monoracial African Americans come from a broken home, this causes a lot of people, once they get into their adulthood, to have an inability to create or maintain healthy relationships and healthy communication styles. And this is because that has never been modeled to them in their real life. Maybe they've never had a two-parent household where their parents were married, where they saw their parents argue and then figure it out and then work through it and then be closer together afterwards. A lot of people who grew up in broken homes, they didn't have that experience. And if they don't go to therapy or work on that or kind of like go on a healing journey, it's going to be very difficult for them to maintain a healthy relationship. Unfortunately, this is the case for most unambiguous monoracial African American men. A lot of them do not even believe in things like therapy. A lot of them, unfortunately, can't even afford therapy. And so, because of this, they seek out spaces like the Red Pill or the Manosphere, where you will have men who have gained an income for themselves. And because a lot of these unambiguous black men don't have father figures or they don't have male role models or men who taught them how to be a man, they will naturally cling to these men online who look like them, who are really just trying to make a dollar off of them. And this is how you see a lot of men get sucked into the talking points of people like Andrew Tate or Kevin Samuels or other people like that. If you are not an independent and analytical thinker, it's very easy for you to become brainwashed. And so I think that because a lot of unambiguous black men have father wounds and also mother wounds as well, they have it extremely difficult when it comes to getting a healthy relationship or knowing how to date, knowing how to express their emotions. I've also noticed that in the black community in general, there seems to be a lack of vulnerability. A lot of people are afraid of showing their emotions, other than emotions like anger or, bitterness or things like that. I've noticed that in the black community, it's not okay to say, hey, I feel insecure. Hey, I feel jealous of this person. Hey, I feel very depressed today. You know what? It gives me anxiety and it makes me nervous when you look at me like that. It's very rare for you to see an unambiguous monocultural black male say a talking point like that. As a matter of fact, I can't think of not one black guy that I've ever heard in my life openly discuss his vulnerabilities or his insecurities, and especially not in the presence of a woman and not in the presence of a girl he's trying to impress. I've noticed that toxic masculinity is very pervasive in the black male culture because if you look at the music that is popular amongst monoracial African American males, oftentimes this is music that is, rap music, hip hop music that talks about things like having hoes and side chicks. And so then on average, when you go and date one of those guys, well, what do you think you're going to experience? You're going to experience increased levels of cheating. You're going to experience baby mama drama and things like that. Because like I said, if a person is raised from generation after generation of a broken home, what do you think they're going to go out and create? A broken home. Especially if that person hasn't worked on themselves or they don't know what their own vulnerabilities and their own weaknesses are. Have you ever tried to ask an unambiguous monoracial black man, hey, what are your weaknesses in a relationship? Have you ever asked a man that? Has a man ever come up to you and directly talked about his weaknesses, or a man that's been interested in you when it comes to relationships, has he ever openly talked about his weaknesses or his insecurities or the things that he's working through and what methods he's taking to find inner healing? Whether that's reading books or going to therapy or getting a counselor, going to church, having a spiritual journey, whatever it is, it's very rare for you to see an unambiguous, monoracial African American guy doing these types of things. And like I said, I think a lot of it comes from these men coming from broken homes. Maybe their mother was a toxic mother. Maybe their father was absent. And so they're not used to being in a home where having a spiritual healing or having mental and emotional healthy and safe spaces, that's not even a thing. They don't even know what that means. They don't know what a safe space even is. And so if they don't even know what a safe space is, how are they going to create one for you? Well, they're not. And this is a problem that we see in the Black community today. And I think this is a part of what fuels the gender war. Because like I said, Black men and women are two sides of the same coin. By the way, this is not to throw shade at anybody because I've engaged in Black culture myself. So I'm not trying to say it like I'm somehow above it or anything like that. It's just something that I've noticed from a psychology standpoint and from a sociology standpoint. There are a lot of problems when it comes to maintaining healthy, functional relationships. I see a lot of Black men online talking about women being baby mamas, but I guess my question is, well, who created these unambiguous baby mamas? Who created those baby mamas? Who wanted to lay down unprotected? Who wanted to finish inside of the woman? And I know I'm being really graphic right now, but it's like, who's the one who wanted to participate in that? Because it does take two people to have a baby. Now, I am pro-choice, so I do believe that women have a choice whether or not they want to birth a baby. But I think that talking about family planning is something that you should definitely have a discussion on before you even get to the point of pregnancy or unprotected sex. So once again, when you come from a broken home or you come from a home that is emotionally unsafe, where your own mother and your own father or your uncles, cousins, whatever, they didn't even talk to you about this, you are going to have no idea how to function as a normal human being or like in a healthy way or in a healthy relationship. I also think that a lot of the Black media that we see, it perpetuates a toxic relationship culture. In fact, I can't really think of that many movies or TV shows where it shows a very healthy Black family or a healthy unambiguous family. Usually there's like a Black man with a mixed woman, or there's like a Black man with someone who's always lighter than him. So even if you do have a healthy dynamic, portraying this image in the media almost implies that a Black man in particular cannot have a healthy dynamic unless his woman is lighter or whiter or completely non-Black altogether. And I've noticed that a lot of the Black men have been influenced by what the media has told them or what the media has shown them on a subliminal level, because they will say things like, oh, white women or non-Black women are the standard of femininity, when we already know that to be false. But where did they get that talking point from? Well, they got it from TV, they got it from the things that they watched, they got it from the type of music that they listened to, they got it from their own internalized inferiority complexes in comparison to white men. And so I do feel like a lot of Black men, they just try to follow whatever white men are doing, not realizing that they're not white and that the world is not, it doesn't operate in the same way for a white person as it may for a person of color. And also, the white culture has flaws as well. I don't know why people worship whiteness so much to the point where they think that white people have perfect marriages, perfect relationships, perfect businesses. They have perfect confidence and perfect self-esteem. That has been proven to be false, but I feel like because a lot of Black men have tried to follow the same patriarchal structure as white men, they have the same issues that we see in the white male culture, where you've got a lot of incels because of that, and where you have women getting angry at all of the abuse they experience. And so now you have all of these feminist modern women. This happened in the white culture, this is happening in the Black culture. So they're following the same patterns that we see in other ethnicities. And I think it's sad, but I've also noticed that a lot of these Black men, they try to act like they own you when you're a woman that they're attracted to, they try to act like they have some sort of right to sexual access to you, especially if that man has money. But just because a man has money, it doesn't mean that I owe him my body. And I think that a lot of black men in particular are defined by things like sex. They're defined by things like how pretty is the girl that they're sleeping with and how many women can they sleep with. And, we see a lot of black males who are sex addicts, aka they are addicted to the validation that they receive from sex because, once again, if you go back to their family history, they did not receive a lot of validation when they were young men, or maybe they were given a lot of toxic talking points, such as you have to work twice as hard to get half as much, and the police are going to try to kill you and whatever. So it's like, if you're a little boy and that's all you hear, of course you're not going to feel validated. Of course you're not going to feel empowered. And because of this disempowerment that a lot of black men have experienced, instead of taking accountability for their own lives as they become adults, they decide to project onto the white man, or they project onto their own women, or they project their own anger and internalized bitterness towards their own mothers. And so this is why we see that pattern where a lot of black men actually hate women in general, not just black women, but just hate women in general. And so this is why we see lots of cheating, lots of side babies, lots of sex addicts, because if you're dealing with a black man in particular, generally speaking, a lot of black guys, they have a hard time seeing a woman's value outside of being a wife or being a mother. If you can prove to me that black men in general see a woman as valuable outside of being a wife or mother, please let me know in the comments section, because I have not seen it, not once. When it comes to the black community, you are either a wife, a mother, or a whore. Those are your three options. There is no in between. If you are not a wife or a mother, you are automatically not wholesome. If you're not a wife or a mother, you are automatically devalued. And I think that the unambiguous black women can actually see this, and they can feel this. They can feel the way that their own men devalue them. And so because of that, that's why we see the divestment movement happening. Now, am I saying that I support divestment? I do think that there is a lot of self-hatred that's intertwined with the divestment movement, but at the same time, I can see why they started it, because they're just tired of the unrealistic double standards. They're tired of men saying things like, oh, well, she has to be a virgin and she has to be sexually conservative. But then those same men are going out and paying the bills of sex workers. They're going out and subscribing to OnlyFans. They're going out and they're looking at these Insta models, and they are cheating on their wholesome wives, kind of like Derek Jackson style. They are cheating on their wholesome Christian demon slaying wives with these quote unquote Insta thoughts that they speak so heavily against. And so I think that a lot of people can see the hypocrisy, and this is why you see black men's desirability declining. But I feel like in order to try to increase their own desirability, they will chase after whatever woman they deem as most desirable, because if they have XYZ woman on their arm, that makes them look like, they're higher status than what they really are. And so this is where mixed race women come in, because a lot of the men who view mixed race people or non-black people as higher than themselves, they will try to use us as a status symbol. So it has nothing to do with him actually loving you as a human being. It has nothing to do with the qualities that you offer as a woman. It has everything to do with him using you as either his mule or him using you as some sort of symbol so that he can attract other women. And I've heard multiple pretty women say this talking point, that a guy will try to date her so that he can become popular and attract other women. What do you ladies think? Have you ever had a guy try to use you as a status symbol or a trophy so that he can attract other women to cheat on you with? Let me know in the comment section, and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.